No, it's going to be.
Hello and welcome to Froch on Fighting with me, Carl the Cobra Froch. You know the rest. I'm delighted to be joined.
Wembley, 4-time Hall of Famer. Go on, tell him, man. Tell him.
He knows the score. You watched his channel before.
I'm a fan of this
Froch,
channel.
Let
me just tell you
something.
something. All those YouTubers that are out there, they all reference this. So can I swear?
Yeah, you can swing. So it's the Cobra's channel.
Okay.
Belongs to Froch.
Okay.
And his boy over there behind the camera.
But because you're in a position where you don't have to bow to anybody. You can say how it is. And I'm quite sure a lot of those YouTubers and whatever, when they do the interviews, want to say it and want to say stuff, but they're scared of not getting a pass to get in or to get another interview.
You have to be careful, don't they?
Yeah, they have to be careful, but I think part of the magic of what you do is the fact that you say stuff that most people are thinking.
Yeah.
To most people, you think, oh my God, I can't believe he said that to AJ. Oh my God, I can't believe he said that to Eddie. And actually, I like that because I think, oh, Jesus, well done. Nice touch.
Makes it more fun, doesn't it?
It's real.
It's real, exactly.
It's real. It's real. You're not being PC. You're just being real.
And I'm not saying stuff for the sake of saying it.
Yeah.
I'm saying stuff that I believe, and whether it's right or wrong, or whether it's the truth or not, it's my truth. It's my opinion. And if you don't like it, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to carry on. Do you know what I mean?
I always say when people say about working on Sky and they'll talk about fighters, and they'll say you're a twat.
Yeah.
And I laugh.
Who does?
Say, most people
what,
say
Sky?
you're a twat. No, people in the street. But I say, you know what? He's actually my favourite because he's actually got a really dry sense of humour. Because you're brought up in pubs.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so you know how to deal with pissheads, idiots,
exactly.
whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, and people don't get your humour. And I actually like it because there's many times we've done the show and then you'll say, watch this. Anyway, when I box in front of 80,000 people at Wembley, and you do it on purpose, but you know it winds people up, and I love that.
I think people get it now. There's a lot of people who chat shit and give me a bit of stick, but then when they meet me, they're fine.
Yeah.
Like a minute ago, Jarrell Miller rolled up and he told me to suck his you-know-what the other day, and he was giving me some stick. Looks at me, gives me a little nod, and then looks away. I'm like, where's the same energy?
You should do a show with him.
Probably should, yeah. I'd like to get him on. I'm going to have a chat with him.
He's actually, so he knows he's got to chat shit.
I don't know Jarrell Miller that well.
Yeah,
but you've spoke to him,
I spoke to him outside, and he said, look, I've got to chat shit, man.
Is he all right?
He's all right.
Yeah.
And he knows he's got to chat shit. He's one of the most successful losers
He was
out
chatting
there.
shit when he was going to fight AJ, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That stuff's on the cutting room floor.
Actually, didn't you have a Gloves Are Off episode with him that never got aired?
Never got aired. If the stuff that happened in that Gloves Are Off.
Was it that bad that it never got aired?
It was bad. It was
Put
really
myself
bad.
up there, didn't I? Saying that.
Rich was cool, man. She wasn't nothing. But when we did a Gloves Are Off with Baby Miller and AJ, you saw a side to AJ I'd never seen before.
Really?
And Miller, he was, he chat shit king. Yeah. And he was brilliant at winding him up. The stuff he said to AJ, I'm like, oh my God. But AJ, he lost it. Someone had to come in and say, we can't use this stuff.
When you get too personal, though, it can be.
Yeah, he was saying some
AJ's got a level where he'll take, then he'll go, right, I'm done now.
I think if there's a weakness about AJ, and that is, if you talk about his family.
Yeah.
It's
not on though, is it?
No, it's not on, and that's why. And you know what? I did it once, and I really feel bad for doing it. I did it with Cole Thompson.
Right, okay.
When we're boxing each other.
What a fight that was. For my younger viewers who've not seen Johnny Nelson, Carl the Cap Thompson.
Yeah.
That was a fight.
And I can remember at the press conference before, I was talking about, because I used to go to a club called Mr. Smith's, I think it was, up in Yarm or whatever it was. Yeah. And I know he went there. But I think I can't even remember his wife's name now. And I can remember we had the press conference, we sat down and said to John Ingle, I went to this club called Mr. Smith's. And I met this woman called, and I said his wife's name, because I knew it at the time. And then we started giggling and laughing. Yeah. And he looked back as if to say, what the fuck, my missus hadn't told me about that. And so I gave him the impression as though me and his missus had been talking. Oh, yeah. And then at the press conference, before it started, I could see him on the phone in the corner like that, having an argument with his missus. And I felt really bad because I knew what trouble I'd caused in that household, a poor woman. And it took him about 8-9 years for him to ever speak to me again. And I just said, can I just say to you, I've never met your woman. Yeah. But so when you're doing stuff like that, you're going too personal. Yeah. When you're a fighter, you do shit like that. But we all love each other once the game's over, don't we?
Yeah, and AJ's a nice guy as well. When you get talking to him, he's actually quite a gentle, nice geezer.
He is. But he's young still. He's still naive. Still wears his heart on his sleeve.
Exactly. And I'm glad you said it. Naivety, I think. Sometimes he he'll be, like you say, he wears it on his sleeve and he says the wrong things, or he'll do something and he'll think, oh, why have I said that?
Ego get the better of him, and it's not until he's in my age or your age then he'll think, you know what, flipping heck, but he's young. He's
always all right on me when he sees me. I was hoping to see him. I was going to try and get him on the channel. I think that'd have broke the internet, but he knows. Listen, what I say, I mean what I say, and it's nothing personal. And I'd like to think that he understands that.
Yeah, but the difference is, you know him. Yeah. So the general public know AJ, this big top dog.
True.
You know, this no Carl Froch, this big top. So when you're saying shit, and I'm thinking, oh my God, do you see what Carl said to AJ?
I used to eat omelettes with him at the Premier Inn in Sheffield.
Yeah, so they don't know that familiarity. It's like when Naz was in our gym, his nickname was Nukra. Yeah. Big nose, we'd flag ears, we'd give him shit. But so people are like, oh my God, I can't believe what he said to him. You know him personally, so you've got that familiarity, whereas the public thinks it's a bigger deal than actually what it is.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Anyway, we're out here in, where are we? Turkey, Istanbul. The IBA are putting on a boxing event.
Yeah, Pro 7.
Does that mean 7? Pro 7. Yeah. And it's a big event, and they put these shows on, and the shows and the production is quality, I've got to say. You've been to a couple of these before, haven't you?
I've never been to
You've not been to an actual boxing show?
First time I've been to one of these shows.
I did one in Dubai, and it was you'll be pleasantly surprised tomorrow night.
Yeah, so to me, I think in my head, there's a lot of talent in Eastern Europe. And unfortunately, a lot of the talent stay amateur for far too long.
Yeah. And so by no choice, have they?
So by the time we get to them, like your Usyks, like your Lomachenkos, they're at the last third of their career. Yeah. And so when they, like Lomachenko's finished, we're like, oh my God, what? Why? Usyk's talking about finishing because they've been amateur for that long. Yeah. And there's so much talent in Eastern Europe. But unfortunately, they've got to go to America or go to an English-speaking country to get the big masses in. So now this is a platform for them to actually say, you know what, this is the talent what we've got here. We want you to see the talent, and our talent will beat the best of the best. So it's a good way to elevate the platform. And also it's good if you're a boxing fan, or even if you're a boxer. What a great time to be a boxer.
You've got to be a boxing purist to enjoy this kind of fighting, because it's proper. It's really, really high level, isn't it?
You've got Riyadh season. You've got Pro 7 coming up. Yeah. If you're a fighter, if you're a fight fan, if you're a fighter, you're getting paid. Yeah. You're getting the exposure. If you're a fight fan, you've got fights galore. We've got to remember, boxing is that much in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. So it's heaven to us. Yeah, absolutely. And they get some big names out here. The biggest names in the business: Johnny Nelson, the Cobra. You know, if we're in town, you know it's a big show. And like I said earlier, Jarrell Miller was around. Tyson Fury walked by earlier. It was like Michael Jackson walking down a high street. Yeah. It was just. He's not finished. I see Tyson. I'm thinking, you lot are idiots that believe that he's done. He ain't done. He ain't gone anywhere. I'm not so sure. Well, let's move on to Tyson Fury. Do you think he's done? Do you think he'll fight again? I think he'll fight again. Yeah. He's not done. He's not gone. There's a few fights that use the word retirement as a negotiating skill. Yeah, well, he's done it 3, 4, 5 times before, though, hasn't he? 5 times now. So I think Tyson Fury is one of them. There are a few fighters that should retire when they won't. There are very few fighters that retire and say, I'm done. Lennox Lewis, I'm done. Mike Tyson retired, come out of it, and you think, the Cobra retired. That? Yeah, when you're done, you're done. You know what I mean? And I'm quite sure there was a lot of big carrots that were hung out in front of you. And I know you keep whining the shit out of Jake Paul and people. That's like not fighting, though, is it? Let's be honest. But I also know that you'll probably not do it. You'll probably not do it because you think you don't have to. I think if fake Paul grew was there, I would, because it's not a fight, in my opinion. And maybe I'm stupid. I'm old. I'm 48 tomorrow, 2nd of July. But in my head, fake Paul's not a fight. Like, that's an exception to the rule. I wouldn't come out of retirement and be in a professional boxing ring with a professional fighter, even at a lower level, because I've got too much respect for myself and the game. But defending Jake Paul, I think... Do you think he can fight? I do. I think he's a good domestic fighter. He's not domestic level. Would you say he's even British level? He lost to Tommy Fury. He's a domestic level fighter that's got world championship money, so therefore he can buy big names like Mike Tyson, like Anderson Silva, and get him in at the right time. Get these old people in that are past it, that are shot, and put himself in a great position. So for your traditional fighters looking at Jake Paul, he's actually doing good business. But in reality, we've got boxing snobbery. So we look at him thinking, you're full of shit. So when he's talking about, I want to fight AJ Lex, I want to fight Canelo, we're thinking, are you having a laugh? But his crowd actually buy into it because he's PR'd himself correctly. I think they're starting to see the smoke and mirrors now. How do you think an 11-year-old retired ex-world champion, Hall of Famer would get on? You wouldn't fight you. You'd smash him. I really do. You think? So I think even because I do think to myself, and I'm not trying to get James. I don't want to see you do it. But I think
like 11 years, because I wouldn't be able to jump in the ring with a Callum Smith or someone like that, or a Canelo or anyone like that. I mean, obviously Canelo's different sort of
yeah, he's a different
example.
gravy.
But
he's a class.
11 years retired, 48 years old I am tomorrow. Not for I hit the bag and that. I hit the bag and I mess around, but I'm not sparred. Really, should I be able to get in the ring with a 20-something-year-old who thinks he can fight?
You're too young. You're too fresh. And I mean, at 48 years old, you're
too young and too fresh. You've heard it from the Nelson machine
from a fighter,
yourself.
From a former world champion, he would never.
Fake Paul wouldn't take it, would he?
Give it another 10 years, then that would happen. And I get that. And I'm quite sure he'll come out with some great line and talk about Nelson being a boring shit. I've heard it all before, son. But that's just my opinion. But I do think he can fight. But he's a domestic fighter that's got world championship money to buy the old boys.
Yeah. Well,
that's where the problem is.
Enough about Jake Paul anyway. So we're saying Tyson Fury is going to come back.
Yeah.
You're convinced of that?
Yeah. He's not gone anywhere. Okay. When we're talking about
but what if
he's not gone anywhere?
So he's the only fight from AJ?
Yes.
Yeah.
The only fights for him is AJ, and the problem is this. And I love AJ. I think what he's done for British boxing is unbelievable. As in regards to elevating it, what he's done in the short space of time, because he started when he was 18, has been outstanding. Yeah. But I do think we've seen the best of him. I do think you now can't put your house on him because you don't know which AJ is going to turn up, and that's fairly said. That's fair.
Do you think he fights scared? Because I think he's got no confidence when he's in there, unless it's all his own way.
Depends on what head he's got on. Because sometimes I go and you think, look about when he went in with Ngannou. Ngannou only had, fair enough, 2 professional fights, but he went in there. This fella looked apart, and he just blasted him. But then you look at what he did with Andy Ruiz. And you thought, you've let this little fat fella smash you. That should have never happened. Then you look at you think, why have you let that happen again? Now he should have beat Danny Dubois. No disrespect to Danny Dubois, but Danny Dubois was on it and he had the right headspace. Where when AJ came out, it'd like you going to work, you're a builder. You keep forgetting your tools at home. You turn up to a building site thinking shit. And AJ got in the ring. As soon as Daniel threw the first jab, he went back in like proper amateurish, head up. And I thought, God, he's done it again.
Caught with jabs
he's
in round
forgotten
one,
his tools again.
You can see the switch is not there.
Yeah. So you think you can't keep doing that at your age with the experience you've got. So therefore, you'll never be able to put your house on him, no matter who he goes in with. And so that might be a pressure on him. But in reality, I just think when you're 40, you look back at that younger version of yourself thinking, shit, I get it.
When he was a bit more tenacious and brave, and he'd stick his. He's a bit green, wasn't he? And he did have a swing on, even with the Dillian White fight, because he got clipped and then he thought, right, okay, I'm going to have a fight back. And he climbed off the floor against Klitschko. Yeah. All right, Klitschko
that's what I'm saying. He had that edge about him.
He still had that edge,
But the problem is this: if he fights Tyson Fury will ruin him. Tyson Fury will ruin him verbally before whatever happens in the ring. Yeah. Because AJ is not, he can't play the game of bullshit talking.
Yeah. Do you think he'll get it back, AJ? Do you think he'll?
No, I don't.
You don't think
I know he wants to be a 3-time heavyweight champion.
Isn't it, to get it
I think it's about everything falling in place. So it's a case of who's going to be the champion at a time. Is there a soft touch there? Yeah. Probably thought Daniel Dubois was a soft touch, who I think will get turned over by Usyk on the 19th of July. But he said, I don't think he will. And as I said, I'm a fan of AJ's, but I'll say how it is. This isn't. It sounds like a personal attack. You're asking me to criticise or to have an assessment.
It doesn't sound like a personal attack. Eddie Hearn said maybe he fights Fury once and twice. Maybe they get 2 out of it, and then he fights Dubois for that in a rematch.
AJ
I think
is
Dubois
not
going to improve.
Listen, you saw the last time you saw AJ, it was out on his face. Yeah. Now when I saw him face down, I'm thinking, you know what? I don't want to see that as a last impression of Anthony Joshua. Yeah. I don't want to see that. There's a chance that can happen again.
Do you want to see him back in the ring again now?
So, in reality, why does he want to get back in the ring? Because he's had the criticism.
Do you believe he wants to? Because he's saying he wants to.
I don't believe he does.
No, I don't
believe he does.
In fact, I've not heard him say it. I've heard everyone else speak for him. I've not heard AJ actually say it.
I rate Eddie Hearn. I think he's the best promoter I've ever come across apart from his dad. So Eddie Hearn will sell you something you never want.
So is he a promoter or salesman? Or does that go hand in hand?
I think it's hand in hand. Yeah. But he's the best promoter and the best salesman. And he'll talk on behalf of AJ, but in reality, AJ's been at the ring for far too long to show me that he's a hungry guy that thinks, I need this. Yeah. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
I come under a bit of fire for saying I think AJ should retire. Yeah. And people are saying, Froch ain't concerned with his health. I'm not concerned with AJ fighting. There's no monetary value in it for me. Yeah. There is for the promoters.
But people think you're jealous.
Exactly. They come out with that. But jealous of what? And then they'll say, money. It's like, listen, how much money do you need? Yeah. I'm doing all right. Don't worry about me. Johnny knows the game. Listen, AJ's got plenty of dough and he's smashed it. He's made a fortune and fair play to him. Fucking he deserves it. He's earned it. And what he's done for boxing, like you pointed out earlier, is brilliant.
Yeah.
Like no one's done that and elevated the sport. And that's good for everybody involved in the sport.
Again, I see it from both sides. I'm a fighter, so I know what gym conversation is about. So I know the stuff you're saying publicly. You and AJ can have these kind of conversations, and the public aren't privy to it.
I was hoping his ear so I could get him on and prove to everybody that there's no genuine beef. Because even Eddie thinks I've got a problem with AJ, but AJ knows I haven't got a problem with him.
Yes,
but it's that conception of the public.
When you've got enough people around you slapping you on the back, telling you you're a god, you're a king, you don't want somebody like you telling him talking to him like that, like they can't. Yeah. Because all of a sudden everybody else will be talking to you like that. So he's thinking, Froch, shut up. Otherwise these people that glorify me, they're going to start talking to me disrespectfully. And that's the only embarrassment about it. But he knows it. And the thing is, it seems like we're always talking about AJ. We're talking about him because he's done amazing things and he's reached the top. So he's the talking point and he's the example to set. So that's why he's talked about a lot because of what he's achieved.
And he's on a knife edge. Does he retire or does he carry on? And if he does carry on, who does he fight? Like who's his next fight if he fights again?
And whoever he fights has the opportunity to turn him on because again I don't know which Anthony Joshua will turn up.
What do you think about AJ? We'll move on from AJ in a minute because I want to talk about Usyk and Daniel Dubois, the rematch. What do you think about AJ against Fabio Wardley?
No, don't do it. Don't do it, man. Don't do it. AJ, I'm telling you now, don't stay away from that shit because you're at the wrong side of your career to be getting in there with somebody as dangerous, as ambitious, as hungry as Fabio. Even though on paper you should smash him, don't do it. It's a risk that you shouldn't take. You know what? Now a fight that he could take a fight against Deontay Wilder. He's shot to bits. He could, and you won't worry about it.
Does anyone want to see it though?
I think out of curiosity, I think they want to see it. They all want to see it.
But what do you think about Wilder and where is he?
Wilder, I think Wilder, even though he won the other night, I think Wilder, he's not the fighter he was. The ayahuasca's rinsed him, so he's no longer the fighter he was.
You know what, the ayahuasca's mad, isn't it? It's got
if you're a fighter, you shouldn't be touching ayahuasca. Yeah. Trust me, I've been on that stuff. Don't touch it. It changes your mindset, changes your hunger, changes the line in you. So Wilder will never be that fighter he was. I think, obviously, against Tyson Fury, that's a good fight. But apart from those two, I wouldn't do it.
So AJ Fury or nothing?
Yeah, AJ Fury or nothing. I just wouldn't do it. Because even if they're trying to pick
that's a big fight, isn't it?
Even if they're trying to pick a soft touch for him, it has to be an embarrassingly soft touch where the public slag him down. AJ should have boxed Baby Miller. And Baby Miller pulled out. Baby Miller failed the drug test, so they slipped in Andy Ruiz. Yeah. And people gave tickets back. Yeah. They gave tickets back. So it was in New York. They gave tickets back.
We was in New York, weren't we?
Yeah. They didn't want it. I'm not watching that.
In New York,
wicked time. They gave tickets back, but they wished they didn't give them back because they saw something momentous when he got turned over.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is the problem. They've either got to get him a really embarrassing looking opponent that doesn't stand a chance.
No. Johnny can still catch flies with chopsticks.
That's all,
still
like
got
like
it,
a ninja.
Anyway, on from AJ, and I know what you're saying, and I'm not cutting you up because I think we've exhausted it, and like we say, it's nothing personal. We're not certainly not from Johnny, but not from me at all. I don't need to justify myself to anybody. Yeah. Moving on from that, Usyk, a man who's beat AJ twice. He's got a rematch with Daniel Dubois. Yeah, I think I'm quite intrigued. I think it's a fascinating rematch. Me personally, I'll give my opinion. I think that Usyk's too good, not just for Dubois, but for anybody. And even though he's getting on for, is he 38 years old? Yeah. I've not seen any signs of him sliding.
But he's talking about retirement. So once that comes out your mouth, you're 1 foot out. So I think he's very calculated in regards to. I think he's got 1 if 2 fights left in him because he wants that. I think in regards to Daniel Dubois, even though Daniel Dubois' confidence and punch power is like unmeasurable in regards to Usyk, there's no point being able to hit hard if there's nothing hard to hit. Number one. Number two, I think remember when Usyk boxes someone, he boxes them once. If he boxes you twice, he smashes you.
In the rematch.
In the rematch. So you look at when he boxed AJ. He beat AJ the first time. Even though AJ boxed better the second time, he beat him better the second time. Look at when he boxed Fury. Even though he beat him the first time, he beat him better, even though Fury boxed better.
He had a bad round 9, didn't he, in the first fight?
Yes, he did. But he
didn't have that in the rematch. But I know what you mean. Usyk was kind of just dominating.
Yeah, dominate because he knew. And Daniel had his opportunity. Yeah. The two fighters that have given Usyk a hard time are Daniel Dubois and Derek Chisora.
Yeah.
But the problem is he beat them both. And remember, he has the ability to think in the ring. Daniel doesn't. He has the ability to remember in the ring. So when Usyk's in the ring, when he got hit, which I don't think was low, he knew to milk it. He took advantage of it, took the time, played the system, got up, and still smashed him.
Yeah, he got off the canvas and beat him, like you said. Do you think if the ref started counting, he got up?
Yeah.
He gets up. He gets up. Yeah. I think I heard you say that actually the other day.
Yeah, he'd have got up.
He gets up.
But he milked the system. He has the ability to think like that in the ring.
Well, it's gamesmanship, isn't it? The referee called it a no knockdown and said take your time.
Yeah, not many fighters could do. Not many fighters have the ability to do. It's like football. Yeah. Some players will roll on the floor just to get a free kick or whatever it is.
Some players.
Yeah, but so it's acceptable in football. Yeah. Whereas Usyk, I don't believe it was a low shot, but he milked the system and still had the brains to still turn it around and smash Daniel. Yeah. Daniel will go in there with mad power again and strength and confidence, but I think Usyk will turn him over. Yeah. I think Usyk will stop him again because Daniel does not have that boxing IQ.
So other than a puncher's chance, would it be fair to say that's the only chance that Dubois got?
Yeah, but the one thing I've got to give Don Charles is maximum respect, and this guy's such an underrated coach, and I always said to him, when you've got the right materials in front of you, people understand how much of a good coach you are. And Don Charles is a wicked coach, and what he's done with Daniel is an amazing job. Yeah. And I don't mean Daniel's promoter, I don't mean Daniel's dad. What Don Charles has done with Daniel is an amazing job. Now, I know there's certain people in that camp won't like me saying that because they want to take the glory of the success where Daniel's got to. I'm giving that to Don, because Don Charles knows his shit.
Yeah, I've met Don Charles once or twice. I find him a really likeable character and someone who's down to earth and grounded.
Yeah.
And has he got a good relationship with Daniel? Do you know them?
He's got a good relationship, but he's a good coach.
And you know how important the relationship is. Your relationship with Brendan Ingle was
like yours with Rob.
Mine with Rob, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And if you trust your coach, you're never going to question him. Yeah. You're going to say, right, what am I doing, boss?
So yeah, talking about trainers, and I mean, my relationship with Rob McCracken was awesome. AJ's obviously been with McCracken, and people think that I've got some kind of beef because he's not with McCracken anymore. But I feel that his relationship with McCracken, Rob got the best out of AJ in terms of his mind, and he knew who to fight and who not to fight. He knew how to manoeuvre him, and I think there was a time when Rob was probably thinking maybe the Usyk fight's not right for AJ at the minute, and AJ went ahead and fought him anyway. But do you think that relationship breaking down and him moving on to a new coach, do you think that's played a big part in his downslide?
A massive part. It's night and day. So you look at AJ when he was with Rob McCracken, and he glorified this man, and all of a sudden, if you're going in the gym and you're telling the coach what you're going to do, that's where the problem starts. And I see it with Naz and Brendan. You know, at the end of the day, when Naz starts saying, I'm not going to train today, I'm not going to spar, I'm going to do this, that and the other, it's over. You can't be bus driver, ticket collector, passenger, and the boss. You've got to be one. You've got to respect that man that's in your corner and respect what he can see that you can't see. Once you start telling him, I'm doing X, Y, Z, it's done. And so you look at all the people AJ moved to, and nobody's going to say, no, AJ, I'm not going to take you on, because it's a big shout. You know, and what's the kid that had him? Oh God, I've forgotten his name. His last coach that had him in his last fight, Ben Davison. Ben Davison.
I was thinking the American before that.
So Ben Davison. Ben Davison's a good coach.
Yeah.
But Ben Davison, to have on his CV someone like AJ in the gym amongst all the people he's got, of course he's going to take it, and he's going to come out with these new ideas. But he's going to get his experience on the mistakes he makes with everybody else, including AJ. Yeah. So for AJ to go to Ben Davison instead of with Rob McCracken, to me, it's ludicrous. Yeah. And it's like Naz when he was with Emmanuel Stewart. It got to the point where Emmanuel Stewart said, I can't train this boy. No. So Emmanuel like you train him over the phone. Yeah. Once you start thinking you can do it all, your ego has got the better of you. Yeah. Your learning stops, because if you want training to be easy, your fight's going to be hard. And so AJ's relationship with Rob McCracken was the kiss of death to his career, as far as I'm concerned.
People will say he lost to Ruiz under McCracken, but he won the rematch in Saudi.
Yeah, but I'll ask you something.
He lost to Usyk.
Yeah, I'll ask you something.
But then he lost the rematch without Rob.
Did Rob McCracken want him to box Usyk?
To be honest, my opinion is he didn't want him to fight Usyk. No. Yeah.
So if Rob McCracken was honest enough to tell him that, and he ignored him, that's on AJ. But unfortunately, publicly, Rob McCracken gets the blame.
No, exactly. Rob McCracken didn't want me to fight a guy called Adonis Stevenson.
Yeah.
And I didn't find out until 10 years later. I didn't. And he's the guy that fucking put Tony Bellew on bottom moon. Do you know what I mean? But Tony Bellew was dead at fucking light heavyweight. Yeah. But this is a guy that's dangerous, is high risk, low reward. Do you know what I mean? There's always ways of managing fighters and manoeuvring. Look at Floyd Mayweather, for example. There's fighters that he's took at the right time, and there's fighters that he swerved and moved on. He took De La Hoya at exactly the right time.
And the thing is, there's not many fighters that make good coaches. Floyd Mayweather, brilliant fighter. I can't see him being a great coach. I just can't. His ego won't let that happen. Errol Graham was an outstanding fighter, worst coach in the world. Yeah. So if you try and start telling the coach, no, this is how we're doing it, it's the worst thing you can do. If Brendan said jump, I didn't say how high. I just jumped.
Same as me with Rob.
Until it was time to land.
But it's not just the training and the physical side, is it? A good trainer manages you as well, doesn't it?
It manages you.
And knows how to talk to you.
Knows how to, on your downs, on your ups, knows how to get into your head, how to get the best out of you. And then once your ego gets involved, your ego starts to tell you, you don't need him. And that's where the problem is. Yeah.
The lights are going out. I don't think we're welcome anymore.
Look at it. Ding, ping.
Can you still see us, Mr. Producer? Because I'm enjoying this chat. I'm going to move on. So we've done Dubois Usyk. I was out in Saudi Arabia last week, and I interviewed Canelo Alvarez. You've probably seen it. You're a fan of Froch on Fighting, the best channel in the business.
I've got to ask you about that, but go on.
Terence Crawford as well. Good chat with both of them. How do you see that fight going? September 13th, I
think Terence Crawford's an outstanding fight, and so is Canelo Alvarez. Beats 95% of people in the world, but is Terence Crawford one of that 5% that is too much? I don't think so. I think you look at Canelo, at 23 years old, he boxed Floyd Mayweather, lost on points. You look at his resume.
Is he 23 then?
At 23. You look at his resume.
Johnny's a font of knowledge.
You look at his resume, the people that he's boxed, and I mean the calibre of people that he's boxed compared to Crawford's. He's staying night. So Crawford now is in a position where he has to prove that he has the know-how to get through Canelo. He has to prove that. And so common sense would tell you to side towards Canelo, but Canelo has proven it. Yeah. But Crawford hasn't. No matter how good he is, he has the confidence to the fight that's never been beaten. So when he goes out and he's told, I'm going to do it, he talks great and confidently. But in reality, I just think, you know what, I think this one, you might have bitten off a bit more than you can chew. I hope I'm wrong because I think he's a brilliant pro, a brilliant fight. I think he's done really well. But, you know, I just think this might be a little too much.
Are you on the side of the size is a big problem?
Size, I think Canelo.
Is it Kell Brook size?
Yes.
When you think Terence Crawford.
Yeah.
And I sparred Kell Brook in Nottingham.
Yeah.
And he was too fast for me. He's very skillful. He's good timing and that. But you know what I did was, I thought after round one, you know what, I've got to get close to him because he's too quick and he's skillful.
Yeah.
And I leaned on him a bit, pushed him back, hit him around the body, and then Rob's like, Carl, get behind your jab. Because I was getting to him and starting to hit him. Yeah. Just because of the weight, like bullying him.
Yeah.
And I just think Canelo's probably going to be able to bully Crawford.
Yeah, he'll be able to bully him.
Not straight away, not from round 1, 2, but from round 5, 6, 7. I just think if you've been up at light heavyweight, you've been a world champ at light heavyweight. I know I lost to Bivol, and you know he struggled at that weight. Yeah. Beat Kovalev. To come down now to super middle, and for Crawford to come up 3 weight divisions,
he'll be able to bully him.
It's
in my head, he'll be able to bully him. Yeah. And in saying that, I just think it's a great fight. I think His Excellency has done a brilliant job getting these guys together.
It's a big fight.
I think the only thing.
Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I am. The only negative thing I'd say about it is His Excellency getting them together around the table, being mates, like having them eat together and stuff like that. Yeah. You're taking away that magic of like, oh my God, they don't like each other. These guys are sat down eating with each other and taking pictures together. He wants to keep them apart.
Almost started thinking about how much money they're getting paid.
To build up the illusion of these two hate each other because it helps add a bit of... It
always sells, doesn't it? When it's
it helps add a bit of spice to it. My question to you is, you know, when you've been, because you were outspoken about Saudi on one bit. They're calling you out here. We're out here now. You're very outspoken about a lot of...
Well, we're in Turkey now, but I know what you mean.
We're in Turkey. Right.
Saudi, both of them.
How is it? How do you deal with the turnaround when you've got someone like His Excellency saying, come out, I want you out here? Because that's bottle, man. For you to be giving him a hard time saying, you know what, it's a bit boring, I'm not feeling it. Then you're asked to go into the Lion's Den and do your job. How do you manage to get that turnaround and still do the job? And get invited out again?
Yeah. Well, you've got to stand by conviction. You've got to give it a try and see it for yourself. And actually, when I saw Usyk Fury in the rematch, it was a packed venue. The production was second to none. I got left alone at ringside because there's a lot of security. Everyone's well behaved. Nobody's drinking. Nobody's doing what everyone else, some people do, allegedly, shoving that shit up their nose, let's be honest. There's a lot of that going off. Yeah. And there's none of that out there. and I actually had a really good time, and I enjoyed it. And I said I enjoyed it, and I didn't say it for the sake of it. But fair play to Turki Al Sheikh. He invited us out there. He let us taste it for ourselves and see it. And they're putting a lot of money into the sport.
So that's giving credit to you, because it was you basically having to put your hands up and say, you know what, I got it wrong. It's actually not what it seems like.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And but some of the fights you see on television, you can see the crowd aren't interested. You see that you can hear a door shut.
Yeah.
But that fight I went to was a big one. It meant a lot, and it was a lot on the line, wasn't it, for Fury and Usyk.
Yeah, but I think the problem there is it's not about the crowd, because remember, it's a different crowd. You can go
There's
to
a lot of travelling crowd as well.
Yeah, you can go to Germany, and in between rounds they'll clap.
Yeah, remember Sven Otka?
Yes,
Nobody was.
But then in the UK, I think we're the best fans in the world. We'll sing in choir. We'll make noise. We'll create. So it's the UK and the Mexicans are the best fans going.
Yeah.
So it's hard for anybody else to live up to that.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. Moving on, something a bit different. Well, not different, still boxing.
Yeah.
But away from all the fights and what's happening. I know you're a big boxing fan, and you have been for years. And I grew up watching you as well, and Naz. Naz got me back into boxing, in watching Naz.
Yeah.
But who are your top three? I'm not talking about your top three British fighters that you say these have got to be the best. Like you've got Lewis at one, and you've got Calzaghe's got to be up there. Who are your favourite top three fighters?
Well,
you've been. There's people like Errol Bomber Graham, who people won't know. Was you going to mention Graham? Because
I was going to say Errol Graham, because these are people I've seen live with my own eyes.
What was you going to say, Errol Bomber Graham?
I was going to say Harold Graham.
Harold
Graham, and a lot of you, I've lost you right there, because you might not know who he is. This guy was a magician, and he was outstanding. And
Naz watched him, didn't he?
Yeah, and Naz watched him. And Naz is one of them. Well, even though he might be a little shit, this kid could fight for fun. This kid, no matter what you think of him, adds bottle. And I mean, he wants to fight anybody.
Naz.
Naz.
Yeah,
so no matter what you think of him personally,
it was brave.
This kid, brilliant.
He gets a lot of love though, Naz.
Because he's like boxing royalty.
Yeah.
And so if you can separate the two for what he's achieved, I actually bumped into him at the Misfits show in Manchester. We'd not spoken to each other for quite a few years through one or two things that had gone on. And I thought, you know what, I'm too old for this shit, man. He's too old for this shit. I grabbed his hand, but come here, man, sit down. His hands were massive, I'm thinking. He's like, put weight. I'm like, the fuck you doing?
Put a couple of pounds.
Yeah. And I'm like, Naz, man, come on. So, and it was actually nice, because if I'm honest with you, those years were the best years in the gym.
I can imagine.
With Naz, Ryan, Kevin Anderson, Clifton Mitchell. Best times. We were proper brat pack. And so it was nice.
Lucky actually, to become, well, I say lucky, you're from Sheffield, you box yourself, but to have Naz and Earl Graham and Ryan Rhodes as well, because he had his following, didn't he?
It was magical.
It was a good time, wasn't
it? So say those two, and then
Errol Graham, Naz.
Harold Graham, Naz.
Are they two of them?
And there was another guy called.
It's a bit biased. This is. You're from Sheffield.
No, there was another guy called Michael Nunn. Again, unless you know your boxing,
I know what you mean.
You're not going to feel it. Southpaw from Hollywood, outstanding fight. You end up losing, getting knocked out against James Toney. But I used to love watching him. Listen, of course, it's got to be Muhammad Ali. But I'm going to pick fighters that I can say, him. They inspired me watching them. Naz is younger than me. And what inspired me about Naz is his bottle, his cojones. I can remember driving through Madison Square Garden when he was boxing Kevin Kelly, and there was a big billboard poster of him up on the in lights. And it's the first time I saw Naz say, "Naz, Johnny, I'm a bit nervous." I went, "You?" When he saw that, he went, "It's a big deal." Went to the gym. Who walked in the gym? As we're training, Michael Jackson.
Oh, really?
And we all took the piss out of Naz, saying, "You're his sweetheart, he wants you." And so, because Naz, I was always used to give him a hard time, but then when he found out Michael Jackson was a fan of his, Naz was like, yeah, we're cool, man, we're all right. And so...
That's crazy, isn't it, Michael Jackson?
Listen...
Do you remember which gym it was? Because I've trained in New York. There's Gleason's and then there's Trinity.
It was near a place where there was a baseball racket
in Manhattan.
In Manhattan, yeah. It was near there. But you look at the crowd he had. I can remember he boxed. I think Brad Pitt turned up. What's his name?
George Clooney.
No. Diddy turned up. Puffy turned up.
Controversial.
That. But David Beckham turned up. They were all there to watch Naz. He drew him in. I thought, this kid's from a corner shop in Winkerbank.
Yeah. And
we're in New York. I'm like,
amazing. You've had some
so
good time,
to be around that and see it firsthand, and then when I see all these young pretenders coming through, I'm like, I've seen it all before, man.
Yeah, man, no, wicked memories. I wish I was part of that. I watched it all through the TV, and I met Naz and went in his Ferrari 360. I bought a Ferrari 360, but I bought the CS, the Challenge Stradale, just because I went out in Naz's, but it was a lunatic.
Yeah, that just comes straight off my head, that.
Yeah.
I'm not good. I'm like Mr. Magoo when it comes to driving.
I'm a little bit of a petrol head, but anyway, that aside, it kicks off in a bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking and we're thinking, it's on here, it's aggro.
Who don't want behind me?
We've been chatting to this birdie and this geezer don't like it.
Who don't want behind me?
Who do you want? 3 fighters you want with you?
Easy. You. I've said it before, someone's asked me.
He knows.
You.
He knows the game.
Listen to me, he's a nutter. He'll have it. He'll have it. No matter what size you are, he'll have it. You.
There's no quitting me.
You. Dominic Ingle. Another nutter. Trust me, the kick can fire.
Right, said Fred.
Yeah, honestly.
Flex.
We used to work on the door.
Big flex.
We used to work on the door of a Grosvenor Hotel.
Yeah, and give me a door story.
In Sheffield. And when the snooker was on, everybody try and rush in. And me and Dominic's on the door downstairs. And these big fellas came to the door. I'm like, bollocks. And Dominic says, right.
Was you on the door?
Yeah, I was on the door with Dominic. Dominic says, I'll have them two. You have them two. He picked the biggest. I'm like, Dom. No, he goes, no. And before I'm trying to say no, Dom went out. Boom, boom.
Just letting shots
in a heartbeat.
Go.
So you know when it comes to fight,
can he have
took
a
him out
as well?
Yeah, he took him out. So I thought. So when I was in the corner, when I boxed, and Dominic was in my corner in the back end of my career, I actually never doubted what he said because I thought I know he can fight.
You know what? I know. Yeah. You know, I can relate to that because Rob was a bit of a tough guy, and I'm not going to say about any street fights or anything, but Rob was a bit of a tough guy back in the day. And it does give you confidence when you believe the guy that's telling you what to do. It makes you feel like
he'll do it.
You feel strong. So and you don't want to let him down either, do you, when you're in the corner with him?
I'd say you, Dominic Ingle.
Cobra, Dominic Ingle.
And I would say Derek Chisora.
Derek Chisora.
Got nutter written all over.
You love that mindset, don't you? You need that bit of a mindset, don't you, in a street fight?
Yeah, because all quiet, and then when it kicks off, these lot, they'll bite your ears off. That's
when Derek Chisora and David Hay had a little...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Bosh.
I know they're all nutters, but if I want an army, that's my army.
Yeah, and you can just sit back and watch the parade.
I'll sit there and say, boys, sick 'em. Get 'em, son.
I think we're nearly there, mate. I've just got actually one more question. This might be a good one, actually.
Yeah, go on.
You've done the gloves are off for Sky for quite a few years. And you're a massive asset to Sky Sports as far as I'm concerned. I just think you're fantastic at your job, and I'm not going to kiss your arse or anything, but you've been around for many years. And when I joined the team on Sky, you was one of the main reasons why I stuck around so long. Because it's quick to get bored with, especially me doing the same thing.
It's a good laugh when the camera's
and sort
off
of feeling
well.
like I've got a boss as well. I don't like having to answer to anyone and being told what to do. I've always had an issue with that ever since I was a kid. I had a hard paper around. The guy used to throw money at me on the Saturday. He used to throw my money at me and pick it up off the floor. And I was like, fucking, I don't like having a boss, man. So when I got into boxing amateur, and I was on the lottery funding, and I turned pro, I'm like, I'm my own boss. Obviously got Rob McCracken. Yeah. But you at Sky, anyway, that's that analogy. I don't know if that worked or not. But the gloves are off. You started doing that. And what are your top 3 gloves are off moments? So
when I knew the gloves are off was something magical, was you and George Groves.
Really?
Yeah. And
that was a bit special, that one.
Remember, we had James DeGale and George Groves, but it was you and George Groves. And the reason being is because when we sat down, and George tried to kind of intimidate you and put it on you, and he stood up, and he had a shirt and tie on, and he got your hand to shake your hand, and he put a sneaky squeeze on. And we wouldn't have seen it unless you didn't squeeze him down and pull him down and say,
I asked him what he was doing. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We can't have a pull and push.
I'm like,
and you exposed it, and I'm sat like, and I wanted to laugh, but if I laughed, it looked like I was on your side. And I thought,
I was thinking, I've never actually asked you what you was thinking. You sitting there, and you're like looking, and you just stayed there, cool. You didn't even move. You was like,
I thought, shit, man, this is real. This ain't pretend. And so it was the first time I knew that show was real, and I thought, I love that. And you've just now set an example for fighters coming through to be thinking, you know what, I can just be me, because you showed a rawness with you, and I think you actually won that one with the Battle of the Minds. Because George was trying to say, you were talking to a sports psychologist, you flipped it all on his head, and George, he got mugged off a bit, and especially when you did that to him, because George looked at me, looked around to say,
what's going on?
What's going on?
He had a bad day there, didn't he?
So you handled it well, and I sat back and I'm like, shit, nah, my man.
Is that your top 1 of 3?
No, that's amongst my top ones. Yeah. Second one, I'd have to say Dylan White and Derek Chisora. White and Derek Chisora.
That was fruity, wasn't it? That one.
Yeah, the stuff you didn't see is mad. Derek Chisora jumped at if you notice, we don't have glasses on the table now because Derek threw the glass at Dylan White.
Did he throw the glass at him or just took the water on him?
Threw the water and let go of the glass.
Oh, did it?
And then jumped across the table and bit Dylan on the chest. If you hear a man scream.
Yeah, I heard he scream.
Yeah, and it was pure mayhem. And we're trying to drag him apart. And so I've got an ankle, there's water all over the floor, and Dylan's screaming, and Derek's laughing and biting.
Did you get involved? Was it Derek's laughing? Was he laughing?
Yeah, and so I'm trying to
pull. Was Derek laughing?
Derek was laughing as he was biting him. And I'm trying to pull someone's ankle. Big Scott, the cameraman, he's still got his camera on.
Oh, yeah, Big Scott.
Trying to part them. I got up, I thought, I run to the door to open the door to get security. I said, open the door. He went, no, I'm containing it. I want you, no, we're visiting, you idiot. And so we somehow got Dylan out. And you know when you see a kid marching up and down, screaming just that was Dylan. He lost the plot.
He was angry,
He was angry, man. He was angry. And that time they had you could bring your friends and everything through. And his crew were there. And the stuff that happened outside that door, it was scary, man.
Really?
And Dylan, he was just, he was mad. Anyway, I just said, Dylan, cops are coming. So, boom, they'd gone out. Derek came out just laughing. I just thought, you're a nutter.
He's not bothered, is he?
You are not wired up right.
He just enjoys being a lunatic.
Yeah, he does. But actually, both Dylan and Derek, when he first started on the scene, I wasn't great fans of them. But now I actually like them. Yeah. Because they both reminded my older brother, who's passed away, who could cause trouble in an empty room, but the bark's worse than the bite. And I get it. And then the other one, the third one, which you've never seen, and you'll probably never see unless someone breaks into Sky Archive, is...
Oh, so it's not been aired?
Never been aired. Okay. Anthony Joshua against Big Baby Miller.
Ah.
Anthony Joshua, I saw side to Anthony Joshua.
I heard the rumours about that one.
Yeah, I saw side to Anthony Joshua. I'm thinking, shit, man. And Baby Miller...
Was he vexed?
Vex is Vex is an understatement. But then Baby Miller, true to form, he's the greatest bullshitter. And that told me, if you're going to fight AJ, and if you want to beat him before the fight, chat shit. And I mean, but you've got to be prepared to step over the line and chat shit, because he can't take that stuff. Yeah. And that, it was bad. And so where someone had to come and say, stop, this, no, you can't use this. Yeah. It was bad. So I'd say you, Dylan White, and Derek Chisora, Baby Miller.
And the uncut, the one that never got aired.
That was them. It never got aired. Never got aired. But it's there somewhere. I think, in fact, Scott's probably got it, but brilliant, absolute brilliant.
Awesome, good to hear, mate. Yeah. Listen, really good chatting to you as always. We could probably sit here for another 2 hours, but we ain't got that long. They've turned the lights off on us, so we've kept it alive with our own little light.
How long have we been on?
I don't know. 45-minute chat, maybe one for the car. People can get this on Spotify. So.
Spotify, yeah, get it on. But you know what? Froch and Fighting, what a series! This guy has got it down to a T. He's got it to a T. So all you young pretenders. Watch and learn.
The best in the business. Froch on Fighting. Don't forget, you can get it on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. It's obviously a YouTube favourite. People like to see us as well as hear us. But I'm here with Johnny Nelson.
Yeah, you know they watch for Rachel as well, don't you?
Hey?
You know they do watch for Rachel as well, don't you?
Bring my wife into it for. You was at the wedding, man. Actually, where was you at the wedding?
Well, I was at the wedding.
You was there, weren't you?
Yeah, I was at the wedding.
Good fun, wasn't it, there?
Great time. Yeah, great time. But yeah. So Rachel, you're part of the success.
Definitely, yeah. She got it going. Some people argue different.
Who's the boss out of you two?
Obviously, you know the boss.
Rachel, innit? It's Rachel, man. I know it's Rachel.
For the camera, yeah. Mate, happy wife, happy life. I'm lucky, I'm fortunate. Rachel's good as gold.
I like your relationship. She's I like it. She's a boss when she needs to be. She'll be a twat when you want to be. Yeah. So that works out well.
She controls me a little bit as well. She reins me in a little bit when I need reining in. And I'm getting old, I'm chilling out, a bit like you. But no, Johnny, it's been great to talk to you, man.
Sweet.
Still got it, look, Johnny. It's not messing around. Like,
bam! Get those guns out, baby.
Are we rolling? So that's it for another episode of Froch on Fight. I'll tell you what, how good was it? That was fire. How good was it to have Johnny Nelson on? Such a great episode. Mr. Mischievous. Anyway, if you haven't already, hit subscribe to the best channel in the business. This episode is brought to you by Cobra Casino, and we'll see you very soon.